Hello, friends, and welcome to another episode of Joyfully Yours podcast. I'm Tonya.
And I'm Kimberly, and we are so grateful that you are here today for this conversation, talking about navigating adult friendships with grace.
So let's be real. Making and keeping adult friendships can be a challenge. It's a challenge for many different reasons. We're at different seasons, things happen, we don't get to see people all the time. And so it's not always easy to have and keep healthy adult relationships.
Right. I agree with all of that. And I really think it takes a lot of understanding, takes a lot of grace, it takes a lot of intentionality. And you just have to be open and, just like I said, intentional with a relationship that you really, that's important to you.
So we're really excited about this episode because we feel that we can encourage and help some women not only develop relationships, but even be healed from some past ones.
Exactly.
And so we're excited to get started today.
Yes.
So Kimberly, let's start here.
Okay.
Why do adult relationships, friendships, grown women conversations, why do they feel so different than when we were younger?
Well, I think when we're kids, I mean, it's easy. First of all, your parents are like controlling a lot of that, but a lot of it has to do with proximity, and
Right.
the activities you do, schools you go to, and all of that. Or like some of my friends when I was younger lived right next door, so
Right.
we were always playing together. So those were some of my closest friends for a long time. But as you get older, life gets busy, it gets chaotic, it just gets busy, and even like adult relationships when we have young kids
True.
is different from when we have school age kids.
True.
And then once they go through school, it still is different. And then once they all go to school, you've made all these wonderful relationships.
Right.
Sometimes you have to figure out, are these real friendships, or were we just friends because our kids went to school together?
Right.
And you have to be very intentional in all of that and decide, what you want to put into those relationships.
And, too, sometimes the values that you have or priorities change.
Right.
My priorities when I was in high school with some friends, I don't have those same priorities anymore because life introduced me to different things. So it's important that you realize, like you were saying, sometimes they're seasonal relationships.
And that's okay.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay to have seasonal relationships. It doesn't mean that they're bad. It just means the season changed.
Right.
And so it is more intentional, like you said, and it's more of an effort sometimes, but also I think maturity.
Yes.
Right? Like I was not a good friend always because I was not emotionally mature myself. So it was difficult for me to be a good friend because I had not really grown up and known who I was.
Right.
And I'm trying to be friends with somebody who knew who they were.
Right. Yeah. So a couple of things I want to say about that. I think it's okay to have different types of friends because some of my high school core group, we are still very tight.
Right.
We have a text group exchange thing we do all the time, not even all the time.
Right.
We can get together, every couple of years, and it's like we're still 13 again or 16 or something. I still consider them like
friends.
My really good friends,
Right.
but they don't know my day to day. Even my college sorority sisters, still consider them really good friends, but they don't know my day to day. And our life is just, so different. Sometimes proximity, it's kind of easier when you're, have proximity to people.
For sure.
And I know you're talking about different seasons. You haven't always been a good friend. I know I haven't. And I consider myself like a good friend, but I know in different seasons. I just didn't, I couldn't. Sometimes you don't have the capacity. When I was going through a really, traumatic time in my life, there were people that were really, really close to me before that. And after that, I shut down.
Right.
And there were some people who made it through, who could penetrate and get to me, but there were some people that I actually have regrets about, that I didn't know how to communicate what I was feeling. And I've actually over the years have mended some of that, and it was never any like
ill
harsh
intention,
no, or never even bad feelings on either side. But I know that I was the one who could have done better if I knew how to do better at the time, or if I had the capacity to do better.
And so that's another difference
Right.
between adult friendships
Yes.
and when we're younger. When we're
Yes.
younger, I remember being in high school, having issues with friends. We maybe didn't talk 1 or 2 days, but
Right.
then after
Yeah.
that, we're talking like
Right.
nothing ever happened. We
Yes.
never really dealt with the issues.
Right. Yes.
But we just said, okay,
exactly.
let's go back to our being friends. And so it's those types of tools that we need
Yes.
as adult women so that we can work through some of these things
Right.
because people are going through a lot.
Yeah, and you never know what people are going through. And you also just have to be mature enough or a woman enough to just ask for grace. I had a situation recently that a friend reached out to me, told me she was going through something. And of course, I was right on top of it at first. And then I just kind of stopped texting. No reason at all. Maybe I forgot or life was too chaotic in my own world and months went by, but I finally texted her and said, I am so sorry. I would love to, pick up and reconnect. And her response was very gracious.
Yeah.
But I just felt bad about that for months. Nothing happened.
Yeah.
It was life. Life.
And that's what happens for adult friendships.
Yes.
Life is happening.
Yes.
And we need to figure out how to communicate our needs, but also extend grace to those who may not be meeting our needs in those seasons.
Right.
So
yes. And I think one thing I love about our friendship is we give each other a lot of grace.
We have to.
Like we can have something on the plan and have our outfit picked out, but one of us can text and say, I cannot do it today, or something has come up or family emergency or anything.
Yes.
There's never any questions and there's never any, ill will towards the other person at all. And that's something I'm really, really grateful for you. I never have to worry or be concerned about, what you're thinking about me.
Yes.
Or something.
That's good. Okay. Let's really spend some time talking about the challenges that come up and then the grace that is required to get past the challenge. I love what you just shared. And that's the reality that we give each other a lot of grace. We don't judge each other if we have to make a change or if something is missed or if something is forgotten. And I think that helps me to be myself in our friendship because you know my heart towards you and I know your heart towards me. So I'm never like side-eyeing you.
Right.
I'm never like, what does she mean by that? And so that's the grace that we practice. And I know I haven't always, that's why I said I haven't always been a good friend because in my insecure days, I would question, maybe they don't like me or maybe I'm not doing this or maybe I'm not that. I would just always look at myself as though I was the cause for what happened in the relationship, not realizing they're not even thinking about me. They have so many other things going on that it's not even directed at me. And so I had to learn how to not have unmet expectations of others or even thinking a way that really wasn't the reality.
Right.
And so practicing grace.
But we've also built a lot of trust with our relationship.
Over the years.
Put a lot of time in and we know that, that it's just a trust thing. It's the love. It's the, gratefulness for each other. That we just know at this stage and you have to work towards that.
Yes.
I mean, I couldn't have said that about myself when I was 20 something.
No.
Maybe even 30 something.
I know.
But yes.
But I also think about it too, as we're grown women now,
Yes,
right? We're over
so.
50. Yes. And I think one benefit of the wisdom of our age is just ask the question.
Right.
Like, why am I trying to figure out what you're thinking when I can just ask you?
It's and also it's checking in on someone instead of checking out because oh my goodness, I just had a flashback. I know I've done that.
Tell me the difference. Let's talk about the difference.
Oh my goodness, I knew that I wanted to talk about that, but it just hit me instead of maybe you haven't heard from somebody instead of, they haven't called you back. And I feel like I've been on the other side of that, but don't just stop checking in.
Yeah.
Check on them instead of checking out.
Yeah.
And I think that's important. Just give them the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
And it's up to them how they respond to that, not you, but at least you've been mature enough, adults enough to do the checking in instead of before you check out. And sometimes you may need to check out because I'm all about boundaries too.
That's good.
Yeah.
One of the things that I check on a lot of people. That's just my character.
Yes, you do.
I check on a lot of people.
Yes, you do.
And at some time, I have felt, why am I checking on them? They don't check on me.
Wow.
And I've stopped, but then I'm miserable because that's not who I am.
Right.
And so God had to really help me through scripture. One of my favorite scriptures is Galatians 6:9. Don't grow weary in doing good, for at the right season, you will reap what you sow, not always where you sow. And so I would always get disappointed if I sow into this person a good morning text or how are you text or I saw your Facebook post. I'm so proud of you text. And they didn't do the same for me. I would feel a little like some kind of way, like I'm being taken advantage of. But then I realized that's not what it is.
That's not what it is.
I'm being me. And then every time God would send someone I didn't even really have a deep relationship with, they would send me a word of encouragement. So that is how I've had to learn how to live my life, is not to tit for tat, but do what's right.
Do what's right.
With whom I feel I'm called to do it with at that moment. And then if God knows I'm almost on empty, he'll send someone else. So that I now have something back to that encouragement. And so we don't want to be bitter or cut people off because they're not doing life the way we want them to do life.
But do you think there's ever a situation though where
that we cut off? And
okay.
But again, we were talking about giving grace to people, right? And so I think like if
can't you still give grace though and still not, because we're talking about friendships.
Yes. And
so
I think
give grace, be compassionate, be all of that, but still this is just not a person that
wants to be my friend.
Or I don't feel like they've shown me true friendship.
And maybe they don't know. Our definitions might be different too, right? So my definition and our definition is we don't have to talk every day. Like we're besties, but we don't talk every day. We don't see each other every day. We have, and when we do see each other, we pick right back up. And so that to me is a grown-up a grown-up friendship, is that we can do that. But I brought that up about, I think, like younger women, they don't always go through the season of friendships with people. So if I'm friends with someone who has 3 babies under 5 and they don't reach back and I have 1 child, I can't compare their investment because their time may just be different. So if that is a friend, I'd have to give them grace in that. But as the seasons change and they do have more time, then I can see, are we really friends or not? So it's situational.
And people's capacities at different seasons are different too. Like just because, I could have 3 kids and manage things beautifully. And you could have, 2 kids and are struggling. I mean, people can, people... You have to, again, it's all about the grace. Sometimes people can only do what they can do.
And so that comes, and you can feel that too. You can feel the energy of people.
Yes, for sure.
And so I know, and I believe at this point as adult friendships, it's about quality and not quantity.
Oh, for sure.
So I don't need 5 besties. I can't handle 5 besties. I am good with my bestie. And I'm good with the friendships that I really have. So I can't have, and when you're younger, you have a lot of friends. But the older you get, you recognize that's a precious, valuable treasure, true friendship. And it's not something that we have 25 different besties or 25 different even friends, because I don't have the time to invest.
But for me, the last couple of years, I have been in a situation where I've missed some relationships that was mainly on my part. And it's not, again, nothing like negative or anything, but just me pulling away because of the season I was in. I mean, being in a new marriage and blending families, my life was just very different. But over the last couple of years, I have like reconnected.
That's good.
And I have one friend who lives across the country who now we have a monthly phone call.
That's awesome.
It's probably all I have the capacity for. And I don't think that's a bad thing, but I don't want to lose that the relationship because it was somebody who was very, very important to me, who I love and hold very dearly. But I think that should be good enough
Yeah.
too.
So grace is being okay
yes.
if we aren't connected, but we reconnect.
Yes.
That's the grace too.
Right.
Is the fact that we're able to say, okay, we don't even have to go back and discuss this.
No, right.
But we can pick up and move forward.
Pick up and move forward
Yeah.
and laugh about the things that we have in common and
Right.
laugh about old stories and stuff. So
that's good.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Now, so how do we really cultivate life-giving, healthy friendships? There should be some practical steps that we, of course, can use for ourselves, but we can share with our audience. What do you think?
I think the first one is be intentional.
Yes.
If it's important, you are intentional about it. And so intentionality looks like, at least for us, we are both planners.
Yes.
We're not the spontaneous, call me 8 a.m., say, can you meet me for lunch?
It would have to be something major is going on
exactly.
in life. Yes.
It would have to be almost a crisis,
yes.
right?
Which
we've had those
yes.
before.
Yes.
But be intentional and call, text, plan, even if it's 30 minutes
yes.
for coffee, or if it's a month out, we've already planned our Mother's Day
yes.
Lunch. And so it's the planning, and that goes with the intentionality.
Right.
If it's going to be life-giving and healthy, then we both have to agree.
Right.
I can't just, if I'm a person that's not a planner,
right.
I can't just call you and say, hey, let's do this. And if you say I can't be offended,
right?
Because I'm free and you're not.
Right.
And so it's the intentionality and the partnership. That's one thing I would say. What would you add?
I keep going back to grace because I needed it a lot. And I think that I'm really good at extending grace because you never ever know what someone is going through.
Yeah.
People
Even
don't
your
always,
friends?
Even your friends. People don't always share. It's like we're walking around with these, perfect little smiles on our faces, but you really don't know what is going on in someone's home with their child, with their grandchild, with their parents.
That's true.
We really don't know what's going on. So I'm always just trying to extend grace.
And that's so important. It's so important because it shows kindness.
Yes.
And it shows understanding and empathy.
Right.
And so I appreciate a relationship, a friendship based on grace.
Right, right.
It takes away the pressure.
Yes, it really does.
And I don't have to perform.
Right.
I can just be me.
Right.
And being me is who you want. You want to be yourself in a friendship.
Always.
Yeah.
Yes, that's what a true friendship is. I think another one is showing up when you can.
When you can.
When
say
you
that.
Can. And even if you can't physically show up,
right.
we're in the world of social media. If you know it's someone's birthday, it's still kind of important for us to get a shout out on our birthday or something, or your,
big moments.
Yeah, big moments.
Yeah.
Just show up, whether it's a phone call, a text message or something. I think that really goes a long way, and just celebrate when you can.
And I love the fact that you just said when you can. I remember I felt so horrible when you had your book launch because I was out of town. And so I was already scheduled to be out of town. And I felt like, man, a best friend's supposed to show up for this moment. But I couldn't be there. So I remember sending you flowers. Remember they got delivered to the wrong house? and and when you told me you didn't get them, I'm like, what? How could you not have gotten them? And then you went back and looked on the ring. And so I was like, to me, I was grateful that you recognize, okay, she's showing up for me in this moment, even though she's not there. Right. And you've done that for me many times. Like I have a lot of things going on with church and different things, and you can't make every event. You can't. But you've always sent me encouraging texts or thinking of you, whether it's football season, happy game day, and those things mean so much. And that's showing up. Right. It doesn't mean physically all the time. Right. It may be the social media post,
exactly,
or the text. Or the sending flowers, even if they get sent to the wrong address.
Yes, that's okay. That's okay. And because ideally, of course, you want to be there for one of the biggest moments of my life, but it's okay.
Right.
You have listened. You listened to me for a long time about that book.
Yeah.
And you were there through the whole process. So I appreciate just the effort in sending the flowers. And just recently, a friend sent me an invitation to a party that she's having for her daughter, and I can't go.
Right.
But I sent her a text and said, use me on the day of.
That's
what can
good.
I do?
That's
And
good.
I just knew she was going to say, no, don't worry about it. But she actually said, yes, I
Good.
would love. So I'm showing up in the way that I can. I can't come to one of the biggest moments of her family's life, but also in that relationship, we've put in the time,
Right.
we've put in the trust. She knows I would want to be there. I would be there if I could,
Right.
but I'm showing up in a different way.
So something else I just think we should talk about. We're talking about giving grace to the friend, but we should give grace to ourselves.
Yeah, I think I'm good at that.
See, I'm not. Like you
Yeah,
heard
right.
how I described it. I
Yes.
felt horrible
Right.
because I couldn't do something.
Right.
And why would I feel horrible if
Right.
I can't do
Right.
it?
Exactly.
And so maybe you're the friend like me.
Yes.
You're the friend who feels bad when you
Right.
can't do something for someone. Give grace to yourself
Right.
because your friend understands.
Right.
And you need to be okay offering what you can,
Right.
not what you can't.
Right. Yeah, I just know at this, because if I could do it, I would do it. And I would
Right.
hope that friend would understand.
Right.
But I'm okay with saying, you may feel a little bad, but I'm okay with not being able, to do everything.
See, even in this podcast, I receive joy for myself.
Yes, exactly. Unexpected joy.
Unexpected joy.
Unexpected joy.
Yes.
No, that's really good.
Yeah, that's
really
good.
good. And I just don't have the capacity
Yeah,
for just everything. You
True.
have to prioritize.
that's true.
what you can do and what you can't do. Like
Right.
right now, a priority for me is, of course, watching my grandsons
Mhm.
once a week, but also being there for my daughter-in-law and my son, because they
Yeah.
have two small babies,
Yeah.
2 under 2. That's a priority for me in
Right.
this season of my life.
Right.
So if there's some extra stuff I can do to help, then that's probably going to be priority over some other things.
And because our friendship, I want to have a joyful friend.
Yes.
It's easy to support that
Yes.
without feeling slighted
Right.
or like I'm not a priority.
Right.
Your family absolutely is your
Right.
priority.
Right.
And I want to see you. And so it's seeing
Right.
each other in those happy spaces
Yes,
too. It's
right.
like, oh man, I know Lovey Day.
Yeah.
You are happy on Lovey Day.
I'm exhausted.
You are
by 7 o'clock.
exhausted, but you are joyful on Lovey Day.
Yes, it's the best thing ever, because that's the thing that, I prayed for.
Right.
To have this relationship with my
And so it's like, during football season, I was every Saturday.
Yep.
I can't do anything.
Right.
Because I choose to
Right.
have joy by
Yes.
being with my family.
Exactly.
And that doesn't mean everyone else is not important.
Right.
It just means this
That's
is the
your
moment
priority.
I'm going to embrace and be
Right.
present,
Yes.
because I can't get those moments
right.
back.
Yes.
So-
We plan our vacations around your football
We plan our
schedules. Yeah.
vacation around football. What are we going to do this year? I don't have to do that.
Oh, we're still planning our trips.
Yes,
okay?
yes. I won't have college.
Exactly.
Claim me, I'll have
Something else.
professional,
Yes,
but I won't
you
have
will.
college.
Exactly.
Yes.
Okay, now, this week we are inviting you to a joyful friendship challenge.
Challenge time.
Challenge. And then we need a little dance for
Challenge.
challenge. We'll work on that,
Yes.
okay? That wasn't it.
That
We'll
was
work
not
on
it. What's our challenge then?
Oh, our challenge is to reach out to one friend you haven't talked to in a while, send a text, make a phone call, or even schedule a coffee date. Let them know you're on their heart.
And I wanted to remind you, friendships, true friendships don't always need grand gestures.
Right.
True friendships are about finding joy in the simple moments. So that text or that phone call or that coffee date could be just the thing that your friend needs to receive unexpected joy.
Yes, exactly. 'Cause
So
again,
take the challenge
Yeah, take the challenge.
and share it with
Let
us.
us know all about it, please. We're going to try to do better on our social media,
Yes.
but just, just comment what you did. We want to hear all about it. We'll post more about that on our social media.
Yes.
Yes.
Friendships in adulthood require effort and intentionality, but you're going to be so blessed by the effort. The work will be worth it.
Yes.
Would you say?
I will, definitely. So give grace, stay open, and keep trying even when life gets busy. Because again, you never know what someone is going through.
And remember, it's not about perfect friendships,
No.
saying the right thing or doing the right thing. It's about intentionality, connecting with someone, and you're building your relationship on love, on grace, and
Yes.
lots of laughter.
Lots of laughter. Thanks for sharing this space with us today. Tag a friend who's been a gift to you on our social media, and let's keep building this journey of joy together.
Have a good day.
Thank you.